Hey everyone, welcome to Comic Yahud, your place for classic comic stories. Today's episode, Tintin and the Broken Ear, Chapter 10. Let's dive in. The father, deep in the forest, is startled by the sight of a peculiar animal carrying a quiver in its mouth. Intrigued and thinking it might lead to something important, he decides to catch it alive. With swift movements, he lunges forward, managing to grab the small, white creature. The animal struggles briefly before the father firmly holds it, inspecting the strange object it had been carrying. He presents the animal and its belongings to a witch doctor, expressing concern that the items might belong to the old bearded man. The witch doctor, examining the quiver and cloth, wonders if this means the old man is in danger. The witch doctor, with a fierce glare, demands the animal be handed over, threatening to kill it and use its heart for ritualistic purposes. His words are sharp, leaving the other man with no choice but to comply, his face etched with fear and resignation. As he takes the animal, the witch doctor issues a dire warning, threatening to summon spirits to transform the man's family into frogs if he speaks of this. The man's hurried retreat, driven by terror, underscores the witch doctor's formidable presence and the severity of his threats. Left alone, the witch doctor muses over his newfound advantage, hoping for the old man's demise to regain control over the Arambeas. He prepares to destroy the evidence by burning the belongings, a sinister smile playing on his lips as the flames dance ominously. In a tense clearing surrounded by Rumbaba onlookers, the witch doctor raises his arms to the sky, proclaiming a sacrifice of Tintin and Ridgewell to the forest spirits. The captives sit bound and helpless, their fate seemingly sealed by the ominous ritual. Suddenly, a voice from statue interrupts, commanding the chief to halt, declaring that the spirits reject the sacrifice. Tintin and the old man exchange a glance of surprise and hope as their captor hesitates, knife in hand. The voice continues, declaring the strangers as friends of the forest, urging their release. Reluctantly, the chief agrees, stammering his compliance, while Tintin and the old man look on in relief and disbelief. As Tintin and Ridgewell walk together, Tintin declares that what they witnessed was magic, or witchcraft. Tintin, still processing the miraculous turn of events. Ridgewell chuckles, revealing to Tintin that he is actually a ventriloquist and had orchestrated the voice they heard. Tintin, wide-eyed and astonished, exclaims his disbelief at the clever trick. Meanwhile, an Arambea holds a knife, preparing to demonstrate something remarkable as a small audience watches with anticipation. Snowy, nervously perched nearby, mutters a worried remark about his own fate. The Arambea, with a solemn expression, prepares to use his knife for a ritual, speaking of removing an animal's heart to aid a sick brother. Snowy, lying helplessly, watches with apprehension, his fate seemingly sealed. Suddenly, the Arambea yelps as a dart strikes his backside, jolting him off balance and sending the knife spinning into the air. Snowy seizes the moment to dart away from the danger. Regaining his composure, the Arambea clutches his side, exclaiming about an old bearded one, perhaps identifying a new source of his alarm. His attention diverted, he seems to be piecing together the unexpected interruption. An Arambea warrior, Caramillo, leads Tintin and Ridgewell into the clearing just in time. Tintin grips his arm in gratitude as the Arambea points to the villain. On the rock, Snowy shakes, narrowly saved from danger. The Arambea which sprints across the grass avoiding dart flying, his movements swift and determined, as an overturned pot and scattered objects mark his path. Meanwhile, Ridgewell introduces Tintin to Abakuki, the chief of the Arambeas, with a gesture of respect and camaraderie. Tintin, extending his hand, responds with politeness and a touch of admiration, acknowledging the chief's presence. Ridgewell and the Arambea chief engage in a conversation, with the chief gesturing animatedly while Tintin listens intently, curious about the exchange. Snowy stands by Tintin's side, ears perked and attentive. Ridgewell turns to Tintin, who begins to recount his conversation with the chief about a mysterious fetish, hinting at something that piques Tintin's interest. Tintin eagerly responds, expressing his readiness to hear more. As Ridgewell begins to speak, a golf ball whizzes through the air and strikes Tintin, knocking him to the ground. The old man and the chief stare in confusion, while Snowy circles anxiously. Ridgewell shakes his fist and shouts angrily. Tintin, who stands nearby looking puzzled and concerned. The old man points towards two young men running away, clutching golf clubs awkwardly, as if they've just been caught in mischief. His frustration grows as he yells at them, blaming their antics for the chaos. Turning back to Tintin, Ridgewell expresses regret about ever attempting to teach them golf, lamenting their inability to learn. Tintin listens, a mixture of sympathy and surprise on his face. Ridgewell continues, recounting the tribe elder's tale of the Walker expedition and how a fetish was given as a sign of friendship. Tintin listens intently, realizing the importance of the story as the old man hints at a deeper mystery. The tale unfolds as the old man reveals that a sacred stone, believed to offer protection, vanished after the explorers left, causing unrest among the tribe. Tintin's eyes widen as he learns about Lopez, the interpreter, who was seen lurking suspiciously around the guarded hut. Ridgewell describes the tribe's furious pursuit of the expedition, leading to a tragic massacre, with only Walker and Lopez escaping. As Tintin reflects on the fate of the missing stone, possibly a diamond, he is left pondering the unresolved story the old man shared. Tintin's eyes light up with excitement as he grasps the entire situation, feeling a rush of clarity about the mystery surrounding him. He exclaims his newfound understanding, eager to share his insight with the old man. Pointing animatedly, Tintin explains how the half-caste cleverly hid the stone in the fetish to escape suspicion, intending to retrieve it later. His voice carries conviction as he outlines the thief's cunning plan. Tintin continues, detailing how the Arambea is attacked, forcing Lopez to flee without the diamond, which remains hidden. Ridgewell nods in agreement, acknowledging Tintin's logic and piecing the story together. Tintin confidently declares his plan to find the fetish and return to Europe, his determination shining through despite the challenges ahead. Snowy listens attentively, his small tail wagging as if in agreement with Tintin's resolve. Some days later, Tintin and Snowy find themselves drifting down a river in a small canoe, surrounded by dense jungle. Their journey is serene yet filled with an unspoken understanding of the dangers lurking in the shadows of the wild. Meanwhile, a soldier reads a notice posted on a brick wall in San Theodoros, listing deserters Alonso and Ramon. Hidden among the dense foliage, two soldiers, Alonso and Ramon, crouch low, whispering about the urgent need to acquire a canoe. Their hushed tones betray a sense of desperation, eyes scanning the riverbank for any opportunity. Suddenly, Ramon points excitedly as he spots a lone man in a canoe, Alonso's voice filled with disbelief as he recognizes Tintin. The revelation of Tintin's presence sparks a mix of alarm and intrigue between the two men. Unaware of the watchful eyes upon him, Tintin ties his canoe to a tree, speaking to Snowy about taking a brief rest. His calm demeanor contrasts sharply with the tension building nearby, hinting at the challenges still ahead. Suddenly, Alonso and Ramon emerge from the shadows, rifles in hand, as Alonso of them taunts Tintin with a chilling greeting. Tintin turns around, startled, as Snowy stands alert by his side, sensing the danger. Alonso steps forward, demanding answers and revealing that the Vilda lion has been destroyed by fire. Tintin, shocked by the news, raises his hands defensively, trying to process the information. Alonso accuses Tintin of causing the disaster, claiming the fetish aboard was lost, and vows retribution. Tintin, maintaining his innocence, insists that the real fetish was never on the ship, his voice pleading for understanding. Alonso, gripping his rifle tightly, accuses Tintin of deception and demands to know the location of the missing item. Tintin, with a raised hand and desperate expression, insists yet again that he knows nothing about it. Alonso's patience wears thin as he threatens Tintin with the last bullet in his gun, counting down ominously. Snowy looks on with concern, while Tintin, visibly distressed, tries to maintain his composure under the pressure. Suddenly, Tintin points urgently to the ground, shouting about a snake, causing Alonso to look around in alarm. Seizing the moment, Tintin lands a swift punch on Alonso, causing him to stagger back in surprise while Snowy distracts Ramon. The air is charged with dynamic energy as Tintin takes control of the situation. In a flash, Tintin tackles Ramon, knocking the wind out of him as their struggle intensifies. Amidst the chaos, Ramon's hat flies off, revealing the shock on his face. Ramon attempts to regain control, grappling with Tintin in a fierce ground battle. Meanwhile, Alonso begins to recover, watching the ongoing clash with renewed attention. The struggle intensifies as Tintin wrestles with Ramon, both locked in a determined grapple on the ground. Snowy bravely jumps in, trying to distract Ramon as Alonso raises his weapon, poised to intervene. Alonso lunges forward, grabbing the weapon with both hands, attempting to swing it down with force upon Tintin. Tintin, caught in the tangle, manages to roll aside just as the weapon comes crashing down. As Tintin rises to his feet, Alonso, surprised by his own misstep, exclaims in frustration. Tintin, bewildered, glances at the fallen Ramon, while Alonso stands, clutching the weapon in disbelief. Tintin dashes through the underbrush, pursued closely by Alonso, who is brandishing a weapon with fierce determination. The urgency of their chase echoes through the forest as Tintin pushes himself to escape. Suddenly, Tintin trips over a fallen log, sprawling to the ground as Alonso gains on him, laughing triumphantly. The air crackles with tension as Alonso's voice rings out, claiming victory in catching Tintin at last. With Tintin struggling to regain his footing, Alonso swings his weapon high, but it slams into a thick tree branch with a jarring thud. The forest seems to hold its breath as the blow misses its mark. The swing snaps a thick branch, which crashes down onto Alonso's head, leaving him reeling from the unexpected hit. With Alonso incapacitated, Tintin quickly binds him before taking a moment to catch his breath. He then searches Alonso's pockets, hoping to find something useful. As Tintin examines the wallet, he discovers a piece of paper that catches his attention. "Oh ho," he exclaims, realizing the significance of what he's found. Tintin's eyes widen as he reads the cryptic note, which mentions a dying message, a diamond, and the broken ear. The name Lopez is scrawled at the bottom, raising more questions. Turning to Alonso beside him, Tintin demands answers, holding the note tightly. "Where did you get this note?" "Tell me," he insists, his voice filled with urgency. Alonso, visibly uncomfortable, explains that the note was dropped by someone named Tortilla on a ship bound for Europe. Only after reading about the theft of the fetish from the museum did they grasp its significance and decide to retrieve it from Tortilla. Tintin, with a determined expression, declares that although they may never learn how Tortilla acquired the note, it is time to move forward. His words rally the group into action, leaving behind unanswered questions but ready to face what comes next. With a firm grip on his weapon, Tintin leads Ramon and Alonso, who are bound and walking ahead of him. As they traverse the lush landscape, he issues a stern warning for them to behave, underscoring the seriousness of their situation. In a small boat, Tintin sits opposite Ramon and Alonso, who look uneasy as they float down the river. Tintin assures them that justice awaits, implying their deeds have finally caught up with them as Snowy watches alertly by his side. Ramon and Alonso mock Tintin's belief in justice, laughing derisively as they sit bound in the boat. Unseen by Tintin, Alonso works the knot loose and slips one hand free, a sly glint in his eye. Alonso, still defiant, warns Tintin not to be overconfident, suggesting they still have tricks up their sleeves. Tintin, puzzled, senses the shift in their demeanor, but remains vigilant. In a swift and unexpected move, Alonso lunges forward, striking Tintin with a paddle as Ramon cheers him on. Tintin reels from the blow, struggling to regain control of the situation. Alonso, holding his paddle fiercely, points towards the water where Tintin has fallen, exclaiming about the threat of piranhas ready to attack. Ramon, with a triumphant expression, seems to relish the danger Tintin faces beneath the surface. Underwater, Tintin floats unconscious amidst a swarm of menacing red piranhas, with Snowy paddling desperately nearby, trying to wake him. The fish circle ominously, their presence adding to the peril of the moment. Suddenly, Tintin surfaces with a gasp, Snowy at his side, both drenched and panting for air. Despite the harrowing escape, their expressions reveal determination to face whatever comes next. Tintin and Snowy find themselves in a splash of chaos, surrounded by a swarm piranhas. Tintin grabs one of the slippery creatures, while Snowy leaps joyfully, their spirits momentarily lifted by the bizarre spectacle. Meanwhile, Ramon and Alonso paddle swiftly in a canoe, frustration evident as they realize Tintin's escape was not thwarted as planned. Confident in their lead, they dismiss Tintin's recovery, eager to reach their destination first. Back on solid ground, Tintin and Snowy pause, acknowledging the futility of chasing the fish for now. Tintin's resolve is unwavering as he considers their next move, determined to outpace their adversaries. Tintin, perspiring slightly, informs Snowy that their journey must continue on foot, emphasizing the challenge ahead. Snowy, ever faithful, listens intently, ready to accompany his friend through thick and thin. With determination, Tintin strides forward, Snowy trotting beside him, as he cheerfully announces their departure. The lush greenery around them seems to echo their resolve as they disappear into the forest. After several grueling days, Tintin and Snowy finally arrive in San Theodoros, relief washing over them. Tintin expresses his gratitude aloud, amazed at their perseverance and the achievement of reaching their destination. At the ticket counter, Tintin learns with disappointment that the boat to Europe has already departed, leaving him no choice but to wait a week for the next one. The realization hits hard, and he shares a look of concern with Snowy, who seems equally puzzled by the delay. As they walk through the lively streets of San Theodoros, Tintin tries to maintain a positive outlook, deciding to use the unexpected week to rest and regroup. Snowy trots alongside, wagging his tail supportively, while Tintin ponders their next steps. Later, Tintin sits on a park bench with Snowy at his feet, engrossed in a newspaper article about a geological survey in Gran Chapo that found no oil. He reads the news aloud to Snowy, intrigued by the implications, and wondering if this discovery could affect their current predicament. A week later, Tintin and Snowy board a ship, eager to leave behind the recent chaos and return home. The anticipation of familiar surroundings brings a sense of relief as they step aboard. A radio crackles with the news of a ceasefire between San Theodoros and Nuevo Rico, raising hopes for a long-awaited peace treaty. Tintin listens intently, understanding the gravity of the moment and its potential to change everything. Finally home, Tintin joyfully walks with Snowy, expressing his happiness to be back where they belong. He muses about unearthing the fetish, confident that this last step will bring tranquility to their lives. Tintin stops in front of an antique shop's window, his eyes widening at the sight of a red fetish statue among a collection of objects. Snowy, equally intrigued, stands on his hind legs, peering at the curious display that promises answers to their quest. With an exclamation of amazement, Tintin rushes towards the shop's entrance, clutching his suitcase tightly. Snowy follows eagerly, sensing the excitement in Tintin's voice as he declares the discovery fantastic. Thanks for watching Comic Yahad. Like, subscribe, and catch you in the next chapter.